Chapter 4672. Hearing this, Xing Yan came out with the entire basketball team behind him, including Qin Chu and Gao Ran. "Hey, isn't this woman from your class?" Gao Ran whispered as he glanced at Qin Chu. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He glanced at Zhu Lingling and then at Humin behind her. He saw them on the basketball court just now. However, their eyes were always on the captain. Needless to say, Qin Chu was disdainful. He kept cursing Humin in his heart for not having good taste. He actually liked the big black bull Xing Yan. "I'm Xing Yan, and you are?" The captain of the basketball team had just changed into casual clothes and looked at the girl in front of him with a confused expression. "Grade 1, Class 1 Zhu Lingling." "Oh hello, what's the matter?" In front of so many people, Xing Yan couldn't directly flirt with the girl. However, he had to admit that the girl in front of him was very flirtatious. Her long hair fluttered in the wind and she had a slim waist and long legs. "Do you want to date me?" As soon as Zhu Lingling said this, the crowd went into an uproar. Humin covered his face with both hands. He really wanted to shout, "I don't know this crazy woman." Everyone whistled and cheered at the side. "Hey Captain, she's your fan. Captain, you're in for a treat." A few basketball players began to tease Xing Yan. His face instantly turned red. "Hey, don't joke around. This kind of joke isn't funny." Zhu Lingling was straightforward. She reached out and flipped her long hair. Her movements were as seductive as they could be. To be honest, Gao Ran was a bystander. Even as he watched, his heart was rippling. Qin Chu's gaze fell on Humin, who was covering his face with both hands 3 meters away. He had never seen her so embarrassed before. He suddenly felt that it was very funny. "I'm not joking. Really, I know you have a girlfriend. That cheerleader or something. But that girl looks so submissive. Do you really want to date her? Isn't it boring? Why don't you be with me? I promise you'll be happier." Zhu Lingling was willing to say anything for revenge. All the men were dumbfounded when they heard her say that she was old. He thought to himself, "This lady is amazing. She's a senior." Xing Yan really didn't know how to answer. There was no love between him and Jiang Xiaoying. One was the captain of the basketball team and the other was the captain of the cheerleading team. They were a perfect match. Everyone said that they were suitable for each other. Then they inexplicably got together. In fact, they didn't have much time to eat and talk together. However, the little girl in front of him, once she took off her school uniform and flipped her long hair, it caused ripples in his heart slightly. "Zhu Lingling, that's not good. Aren't you a homewrecker?" Unknowingly, Gao Ran went up to teach Zhu Lingling a lesson. To be honest, he wasn't familiar with Zhu Lingling. If they hadn't eaten spicy hot pot together today, he wouldn't have known that this girl was in Qin Chu's class. "What does it have to do with you?" Zhu Lingling glared at Gao Ran. "I can't stand it. You know he has a girlfriend but you still want to steal him. You have a problem with your morals." Gao Ran continued to criticize her. "They're not married, right? Xing Yan can choose for himself. What kind of homewrecker is this? What kind of morals is this? Damn it. I think you've watched too many stupid dramas. Get out of the way." Zhu Lingling had just finished a fight and was still angry. After being lectured by Gao Ran, the two of them became enemies. "She's here to confess. What are you doing here? Are you here to liven things up?" Qin Chu walked over to Humin and whispered to him. Chapter 4673. When Humin heard the voice, he immediately lowered his hands. When he saw the person in front of him, he was a little surprised. Then he smiled awkwardly. "I'm sorry everyone. Miss Zhu Lingling is drunk. She was just fooling around with you guys. Sorry to disturb you, bye." After being reminded by Qin Chu, Humin realized that it was time to end this farce. Then he pulled Zhu Lingling and walked out. The remaining boys on the basketball team were also dumbfounded. At this moment, a busybody said, "They were fighting just now? Fighting? Who?" Xing Yan was stunned. "Miss Jiang from the cheerleading team. Your girlfriend brought people to beat up the two girls." "Beat them up?" Xing Yan frowned slightly. "It's not really a fight. After all, they didn't take advantage of each other. Those two girls were very strong. The girls in the cheerleading team almost tore their skirts. Oh my, that scene was so erotic." The messenger covered his face shyly when he said this. "Continue." Then the little girl standing behind him almost used a mop to scratch Captain's face. Only then did he let it go. "I was wondering why they started fighting, but it seems like it's all because of you, Captain. Captain, your charm is limitless. After this guy finished speaking, everyone understood what was going on. It turned out that the two groups of girls were jealous of each other. However, the girl called Zhu Lingling just now was really pretty and she was an interesting person. Xing Yan didn't say anything on the surface. He only said with a straight face, "Let's go." After changing his clothes and walking out, Gao Ran still yelled, "I say, what kind of taste does Zhu Lingling have? She actually likes such a tan guy. I'm so handsome but she didn't even notice me? She even wants to fight with me. Xing Yan, that blockhead is not charming at all. These kids are worse than each other. There's something wrong with their eyes." Qin Chu only smiled and didn't say anything. He wasn't interested in school gossip. However, this was the first time he saw Huamin covering his face with both hands. That expression of embarrassment was extremely interesting. "Chu, what type of girl do you like?" After complaining, Gao Ran asked Qin Chu. Qin Chu lowered his head and carried an LV souvenir bag with one hand. Inside the bag was a basketball and a towel. After all, only Mr. Qin would use a bag that cost more than 100,000 yuan as a utility bag. "Do you prefer someone as sweet as the campus belle Dong Wenwen? Or someone as intellectual as Yu Gu? Or someone as chilly as Zhu Lingling? Or someone like a cheerleader or a supermodel like Jiang Xiaoying?" Gao Ran listed out 4 types of girls in one breath for Qin Chu to choose. None of them. Indeed, these 4 people were not Qin Chu's type. When Qin Chu was in junior high school, there were many girls around him. There were all kinds of girls, but he had always been unmoved by them. The number of times he spoke to a girl still did not exceed 3 times. "I say, bro, you don't like guys, do you?" Qin Chu glanced at him coldly. Gao Ran didn't dare to continue speaking. When Qin Chu and Gao Ran walked out of the school, they saw a group of tattooed youths riding motorcycles loitering at the school gate. Then Jiang Xiaoying went up and said something to them. Qin Chu didn't say anything, so Gao Ran continued, "I heard that Jiang Xiaoying's father owns an underground casino. Several baths and entertainment centers are owned by her family. She's not going to find people outside of school to deal with those 2 in your class, is she?" Chapter 4674. Qin Chu glanced at Gao Ran. "You seem to care a lot about our class. I'm your best friend, right?" Gao Ran put his arm around Qin Chu's shoulder and smiled. "But you don't seem to care about me. Ahem. I'm actually interested in the top student in your class," Gao Ran lied. "You're such a shallow person. You should like Zhu Lingling." Qin Chu exposed him. Gao Ran immediately became nervous. "Nonsense, Zhu Lingling is so vulgar. If I like her, it'll be so tasteless." Qin Chu smiled slightly and stopped teasing Gao Ran. Before he left, Qin Chu didn't forget to look at Jiang Xiaoying and the people outside of school. In the evening after dinner, Huamin and Jixin sat under a big tree in the yard and read a book. Jixin wasn't as smart as his sister, so he had to be watched when he did his homework. Huamin held a small wooden stick and read a novel while watching Jixin. Whenever Jixin was distracted, she would hit him without hesitation. "Sis, yeah? What novel are you reading?" "It's none of your business. Just do your homework." Jixin shrunk his neck when she hit him with the wooden stick. "Sis, I'm so jealous of you. You don't have to read or study and you do so well in the exams. God gave it to me, I can't help it," Huamin said proudly. She only dared to be so arrogant in front of Jixin. "Sis, I heard there are a lot of rich second-generation heirs at Second High, right?" "Yeah," Huamin said lazily. "I heard that there are luxury cars parked at the gate every day. Are there Lamborghinis and Maseratis?" Yes, have you seen anyone drive a Bumblebee? It's the Chevrolet Camaro from Transformers. That's my favorite car. So cool." The more Jixin spoke, the more excited he became. When his sister was in high school, Jixin was only in the 5th grade. "You're still so young, don't be so exaggerated. I remember that you used to praise people by saying they were good at their studies. Why is it getting more and more different now? You're just saying they're rich. You're too realistic." Huamin felt that unknowingly the pure school was no longer like it used to be. Kids from rich families had a sense of superiority in school. Wei Dong in their class, for example, was so bad at his studies, but because he was rich he could walk. "Ah, sis, have you seen Meteor Garden? I think you look a lot like the female lead Shanai. I just don't know if you'll be lucky enough to find a Daoming temple." Jixin chuckled. At that time Meteor Garden was a hit and everyone was talking about it. Strangely, Huamian wasn't interested in those idol dramas. Instead, she held on to a supernatural novel or an unofficial history book, unwilling to let go. Just do your homework. Stop gossiping. Mian, come here for a second. As Huamin and Jixin were talking, their mother stood at the door and called for Huamin. Huamin stood up, put the novel aside and walked over. Mian, here's your pocket money for next week. Yang Merong took out 50 yuan and put it in Huamin's hand. She was a day student, so her cafeteria meal card was charged regularly. The 50 yuan her mother gave her was her pocket money for next week. 50 yuan for 5 days was an average of 10 yuan a day. It was a lot, especially for Huamin's ordinary family. What's wrong? If it's not enough, I'll give you another 20. Her mother was about to take out more. Chapter 4675. Mom, no, I have enough. I can't spend it all. Don't give me any more. We have a lot of things to spend money on. Then your pocket money won't be a problem. Mian, just focus on your studies and study abroad. Make me proud. Let the Hua family see how I educate my daughter. At this time, Yang Merong was still sulking at Huamin. Huamin understood her mother's feelings. Huamian's heart felt heavy as she held on to the 50 yuan. Uncle Jing worked hard for the family, and her mother was the only one taking care of her and Jixin. It was really not easy. Mom, I will definitely study hard. Other than making a promise, Huamin didn't know what else to do. In fact, she never thought that being more talented than others was a big deal. Huamin was still a little worried about the future. She came from an ordinary family, and there seemed to be no other way out other than to go to university. She wasn't like those rich second-generation heirs who could take over the family business after graduation. In fact, Huamin didn't want to go to second high in the first place. She had long heard that second high was full of rich people, and the difference in what they ate and what they used was like heaven and earth. It wasn't that she felt inferior, but she felt that she might be out of place with those people. The principal and teachers of second high were very sincere and didn't hesitate to put down their status to visit her 3 times. In the end, Huamin went because of the high scholarship. All these years, her mother had saved it in the bank and was earning interest. Her life seemed to be much better than before. The next morning, because it was Friday, Huamin was in a particularly relaxed mood. On Saturday and Sunday, other than helping her mother with the occasional housework at home, she often went to the nearby mountains to pick mushrooms and wild vegetables. She had a lot of fun. When she was tired, she would eat the bread and water she brought. At that time, her stamina seemed to never run out. The classes on Friday were more relaxed. After the cultural class in the morning, there was music class, physical education class, and self-study class in the afternoon. These classes were the favorite of the bad students because they basically had no classes. They could sleep and play whenever they wanted. Some boys even secretly climbed over the wall to go to internet cafes and game arcades. At that time, there was no WeChat and the students' phones were very old. They could only make calls and send text messages. Moreover, it was very expensive. Only a few rich second-generation heirs like Qin Chu would use advanced mobile phones that could surf the internet. Mian, let's go out and play later. Where to? Playing billiards and surfing the internet? Anything is fine. Zhu Lingling said. Let's not go. There's a lot of money there. Huamin thought that if he went to those places he would definitely have to spend money. His pocket money was limited, so he decided not to go. I have money. I'll treat you. Oh. I said I'll spend money. Why don't you go? Zhu Lingling was anxious. She wanted to persuade Huamin. Your money doesn't grow on trees. Don't waste it. If you want to go, go by yourself. But you better be careful these 2 days, because I think that cheerleader won't give up so easily. Huamin always felt that the senior in high school wasn't easy to deal with. It was better to be careful. Zhu Lingling, on the other hand, had always been very careless. What are you afraid of? I didn't really kidnap Xing Yan and sleep with him, Zhu Lingling said confidently. Madam, lower your voice. Can you not talk about meat so easily? Huamin was helpless. If he wasn't used to Zhu Lingling's dirty jokes, he would have blushed all the time. True. Don't be so nervous. There's sex education abroad in their teens. They'll come into contact with it sooner or later. As the two chatted, the class president Han Su walked over. After school today, the whole class is going out for dinner at Xingbin restaurant. It's going Dutch 20 yuan per person. Before Han Su could finish, Huamin shook his head. I'm not going. Chapter 4676. Han Su didn't expect Huamin to refuse so directly. Therefore he was slightly surprised. Why? Huamin, is she in trouble? Yeah, she's in trouble. 20 yuan per person is too much. Can't the two of us not go? Zhu Lingling smiled. Han Su was in a dilemma. After all, going Dutch was the fairest way. Besides, 20 yuan per person didn't seem to be a lot for high school students. In fact, Huamin didn't care about the 20 yuan. After all, her mother had just given her 50 yuan as pocket money last night. She didn't want to go because she didn't have a good relationship with her classmates. Okay, I'm just kidding. Mion isn't refusing to go because she's short of money. She won't go and I won't go either. Zhu Lingling was determined to go with Huamin. If Huamin went, she would go. Huamin, it's been a long time since school started. After you came, we haven't had much time to interact with you. You can take this opportunity to get to know them. Then you can teach them some learning methods. After all, if our class does well, everyone will be proud. Han Su was good at speaking in a bureaucratic tone, so he was really suitable for the position of class president. Huamin still shook his head. Forget it, class president. I'm really not suitable for this kind of occasion. You guys go and have fun. Then Huamin took the badminton racket and pulled Zhu Lingling to play badminton. Han Su didn't know what to feel. He felt that Huamin was a person who was difficult to get close to. He always had an unapproachable aura. He was no stranger to this feeling, because he had seen the same feeling in Qinchu. Only 3 people in the class didn't attend this party: Qinchu, Huamin, and Zhu Lingling. Zhu Lingling was actually quite popular, but she refused to go because she and Huamin were inseparable. As for Qinchu and Huamin, Han Su felt that both of them were weirdos. After school, the students who were going to the gathering all waited at the entrance and then went to the restaurant together. Qinchu stayed behind to play basketball with Gao Ran. Huamin and Zhu Lingling were intercepted in the school. He didn't know how those people got in. But near the basketball court, 5 or 6 men surrounded the 2 girls. In fact, Zhu Lingling was not looking for the basketball captain. She was just fooling around yesterday. She planned to cross the basketball court with Huamin to the other door and then go to Oxen to eat ramen. Sisters, please stop for a moment. Huamin looked at those people warily and then secretly held Zhu Lingling's hand. Who are you? Zhu Lingling's eyes were full of enemies. We were asked by a friend to persuade you not to steal someone else's love, okay? Huamin didn't expect that the tattooed young man would speak in such a genteel manner. The fact that the young men surrounded Huamin and Zhu Lingling immediately attracted a lot of attention. Qinchu and Gao Ran were playing basketball when they heard someone running in a panic. Captain Xing, the girl who confessed to you yesterday is surrounded by people outside. Do you want to go and take a look? Although Xing Yan was tall and strong, he was actually quite timid and never got into fights. When he heard that Zhu Lingling was surrounded by young men outside the school, he hesitated. Don't meddle in other people's business. Let's continue playing basketball. His words made Gao Ran very unhappy. Captain, the girl did it for you yesterday. Don't you want to go and take a look? What if she was beaten up because of you? Don't you feel guilty? Gao Ran looked at Xing Yan and said sarcastically. Chapter 4677. I don't know that girl either. What does it have to do with me? In the end, Xing Yan still said something heartless. Gao Ran was furious when he heard this. I'm in a fucking bad mood. I'll fucking hit him. Gao Ran cursed and turned to leave. Qinchu didn't say anything and followed him. Gao Ran is quite arrogant. Should we find someone to teach him a lesson? One of Xing Yan's lackeys wanted to curry favor with his boss, so he suggested this idea. After all, Gao Ran had embarrassed the captain in front of so many people. Unexpectedly, Xing Yan was still calm. Don't provoke him. Do you know who his father is? The kid didn't say anything and was a little confused. In the future, don't provoke Gao Ran for no reason. He's not someone we can afford to offend. Xing Yan was a senior in high school and had some experience. He knew Gao Ran's family background very well. These nouveau riches around him thought that they were rich and didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. One had to know that with one sentence from Gao Ran's father, their fathers would be investigated thoroughly. It would be a matter of minutes before they were sent to the police station. Gao Ran should be a famous second-generation official at Second High. However, some people didn't know his identity. They only thought that he was Qinchu's lackey. Unexpectedly, they were an alliance of officials and businessmen. The Gao family and the Qin family were family friends and had a good relationship. Qin Chu and Gao Ran were inseparable at school. When Gao Ran and Qin Chu went out, Huamin and Zhu Lingling were still confronting those people. Little sister, we also know that it's not good to hit a woman, but if you don't know what's good for you, then don't blame me for slapping you a few times. When the time comes, your reputation will be ruined and you won't be able to stay in second high anymore. Why bother? Motherfucker, I dare you to touch me. There are cameras in the school. If anyone dares to touch me today, I'll pass out immediately. Then I'll go to the first hospital for a full body checkup. I'm not afraid to tell you that I have allergic asthma. Once it acts up, I'll have to stay in the hospital for 3 months or even half a year. You guys better prepare a huge amount of medical fees. It's okay if you can't afford it. You can go to the police station and stay there. I heard that the bento boxes are pretty good. Zhu Lingling's arrogance really made Gao Ran's eyes light up. Previously, he only thought that Zhu Lingling did not know the immensity of heaven and earth just because she was a little beautiful. Now it seemed that this woman was quite smart. After Zhu Lingling finished speaking, those young men did not dare to act rashly. Huamin patiently explained, "My friend didn't mean to steal someone else's love. It's just a misunderstanding. Why do you have to make things difficult for two girls like us?" Bullshit, our friend was wronged. We definitely have to stand up for him. You two little bitches. If we don't teach you a lesson today, you really think that we won't dare to touch you? The leader of the group, a man with dyed blonde hair, seemed to be a little angry. Perhaps he had been instructed by someone, so if he did not do something he would not be able to explain himself. Therefore that person took the initiative to step forward and stretched out his hand to push Huamin. Huamin's reaction had always been very fast. Before that person could touch him, he had already taken a few steps back. That person missed, stumbled, and fell to the ground in a dog-eat-dog posture. When Huamin retreated, he suddenly felt as if he had bumped into something. When he turned around, he was surprised to see Qin Chu's handsome face that angered both men and gods. Qin Chu stretched out his hand to support Huamin's arm. Because it was summer, the warmth of his palm directly transmitted to her exposed arm. Their skin was so close that in an instant the two of them looked at each other. There seemed to be some complicated emotions in their eyes. Chapter 4678. Gao Ran rushed over first. He walked to Zhu Lingling's side and looked around at the young men surrounding them. What's going on? A group of men bullying two female students. Brat, mind your own business, one of them threatened Gao Ran angrily. Why can't I care? They're my classmates. Gao Ran deliberately moved closer to Zhu Lingling. Why are you here? Zhu Lingling lowered her voice and looked at him sideways. A hero saving a damsel in distress, Gao Ran said. Zhu Lingling was speechless. Only Gao Ran would be able to say such a lame line. Are you okay? Qin Chu asked Huamin. Huamin shook his head. Qin Chu then walked to Gao Ran's side. This is a school. You outsiders can't come in and you can't bully our students. Hurry up and leave. Qin Chu didn't like to talk nonsense like Gao Ran. He explained the situation very concisely. Unexpectedly, those people didn't know what was good for them at all. At this moment, more and more people gathered around. Even the few cowards from the basketball team were standing behind the crowd and watching. Gao Ran's morale was greatly boosted. Didn't you hear what my brother said? Hurry up and get out of here. Gao Ran scolded. You two brats, do you want to die? One of them was scolded by Gao Ran and couldn't hold back his pride, so he rushed up. Gao Ran pushed Zhu Lingling behind him without hesitation. Then he rushed up and started fighting. Qin Chu and Gao Ran attacked almost at the same time. 2 against 5, although they were at a disadvantage in numbers. However, in less than 5 minutes, the 5 of them all fell to the ground. Gao Ran and Qin Chu had a rare tacit understanding. The 2 of them attacked extremely quickly and Qin Chu was very ruthless. Huamin saw it very clearly from the side. For the first time she felt that something in her heart seemed to be in a mess. At this moment, a red-haired guy who was lying on the ground got up unwillingly. He took out a dagger from somewhere. He stabbed Qin Chu's abdomen. Be careful, Huamin was a little nervous and blurted out. Qin Chu didn't panic and grabbed that person's arm tightly. Then he pulled. Instantly, a scream echoed throughout the basketball stadium. The surrounding people who were watching couldn't help but frown. That kind of pain was really painful to watch. Then the school's security on their way over. They took the 5 young men. She looked at Qin Chu and Gao Ran. There wasn't even a speck of dust on them. Then everyone dispersed. There were only 4 people left at the entrance of the basketball court. At this moment the sun on S's. Huamin looked at Qin Chu and wanted to say something. Before he could say anything, Gao Ran walked up to Zhu Lingling. I saved you just now. How are you going to repay me? Zhu Lingling's face darkened. Then she gritted her teeth and asked him word by word. Can you tell me, why were you touching my breasts when you pushed me back just now? Gao Ran. Huamin burst out laughing when she heard that. Qin Chu was also sweating. Gao Ran had really outsmarted himself. When did I? Gao Ran still wanted to deny it. So, I'm wondering if you did it on purpose. Did you help me because you wanted to take advantage of me, or did you take advantage of me because you wanted to help me? Zhu Lingling's question made Gao Ran speechless. Why are you so ungrateful? The 2 of us helped you and you're suspecting us? But you touched me, that's the truth. Zhu Lingling's face was still dark. Huamin took the initiative to break the silence. Why don't we go to Oxan's ramen? I'm a little hungry, she said. Chapter 46-79. After hearing Huamin's suggestion, Gao Ran also felt a little hungry. But the 2 of us have helped you so much, yet you 2 are so stingy. You're treating us to Oxan's ramen? 2 yuan for a bowl of noodles and you're sending us away? Gao Ran was unconvinced. Huamin glanced at Gao Ran and smiled. You're thinking too much. We're not treating. The 4 of us are splitting the bill. Gao Ran, Qin Chu, all right, you win. 2 yuan for a bowl of noodles and you want to split the bill with us. You're ruthless. Gao Ran finally understood why Huamin, a straight-A student, was unpopular in class. He was simply a weirdo among weirdos. Huamin's words made Qin Chu laugh. Then the 4 of them passed through the basketball stadium and went to Oxian's ramen from the side door. Perhaps they came out too late, so there were very few students in school. When they entered Oxian's ramen, there was only 1 other table of customers besides them. It was much quieter than usual. Boss, for bowls of beef ramen, Huamin said. Boss, I want an extra 10 yuan for beef, Gao Ran said. You'll pay for it yourself. Zhu Lingling looked at him. What else can I do? If I expect you to pay for me, then it'll be too late. Gao Ran felt that he and Zhu Lingling might have been enemies in their previous lives. When they met, other than fighting, there seemed to be nothing else to do. Perhaps it was because they were too hungry, but the 4 of them ate in a very lively atmosphere. They tacitly didn't speak and ate mouthful by mouthful. In the frozen air, there was only the sound of noodles being eaten in unison. The boss looked at this group of cute high school students and was in a good mood. He even gave them his own tomato brisket soup for free. When it was time to pay the bill, Huamin actually had to pay. He said that he wanted them to split the bill, but it was just a joke. She wasn't that ignorant. If it weren't for the help of these 2 boys today, she and Zhu Lingling might have been in some trouble. At least they wouldn't have been able to get away so quickly. Unexpectedly, Huamin was just about to get up. Qin Chu took out his wallet and elegantly took out 100 yuan. Boss, the bill please. Wow, a local tycoon is treating us. Then I want to eat another bowl. Zhu Lingling said happily. Gao Ran glanced at her. Can you not be so shameless? As a woman you have to be reserved. I like to be unreserved. So what, are you going to bite me? I'm not a dog, I can't be bothered to bite you. Besides, you look poisonous. I'm afraid that if I bite you I'll be poisoned to death. They were still bickering. Huamin noticed that Qin Chu's wallet was black and plain. There was no pattern at all. When he opened the wallet and folded it, there was a secret logo inside. This was a very luxurious and low-key brand called BVT. Compared to Louis Vuitton, this brand had more of an emotional appeal. Seeing his low-key personality, Huamin's impression of him increased by a few points. How are you 2 going back later? Gao Ran ignored Zhu Lingling and asked Huamin. Let's take the bus. I don't have time to go to my house. I'm planning to transfer. Why don't you stay at my house? Zhu Lingling invited when she heard that Huamin wanted to transfer. Huamin shook his head. It's okay. It's not that late. I'll walk slowly. Anyway, it's my rest day tomorrow. Where do you live? Qin Chu asked her. Eastern Suburbs Commoner District. Everyone thought that Qin Chu would say, why don't I send you home? Even Huamin thought that this boy wouldn't ask where he lived for no reason. Unexpectedly, Qin Chu glanced at Gao Ran and said, "You send her back." "Me? Why me? It's not on the way." Gao Ran was puzzled. "Isn't your grandma's house in that direction too, Gao Ran?" "Huamin, I say, why are you torturing me when you're flirting?" Gao Ran didn't feel awkward saying it to his face. Chapter 4680. "Because you're my bro," Qin Chu said shamelessly. "Fuck you. Now you remember that I'm your bro. Are you giving me a ride or not?" "No." Gao Ran threw a tantrum. "Okay, then I won't force you. My collection of Huang Jiaju's albums." "Wait? You mean if I give you a ride you'll give me the albums?" Gao Ran finally realized what was going on. Qin Chu nodded slightly. "Deal." Gao Ran shamelessly refuted his own words and stood up with a whoosh. "Let's go, Brainiac, I'll take you home." I thought it wasn't on your way home?" Huamin was speechless. "It's okay. I miss my grandma, so I'll go see her," Gao Ran said calmly. "Gao Ran, don't you think you're being hypocritical?" Zhu Lingling couldn't stand it anymore. "Don't always be there for me. Hey, what about me? Who's going to take me home?" "Qin Chu." Zhu Lingling wondered why they were all talking about who would take Huamin home and where she stood. "Isn't your house only 3 stops away from the school? And the 146 train will stay open until 10 p.m., Qin Chu said. "Good, you're good. You even know that." The 4 of them parted at the door of ramen. It was indeed convenient for Zhu Lingling to go home since it wasn't far. Qin Chu on the other hand hailed a taxi and left. Gao Ran on the other hand had a hard time. He took the bus with Huamian, and after 2 transfers, they arrived at the eastern suburbs. Along the way the 2 of them chatted quite naturally. "Gao Ran, your house looks pretty good. Why does your grandma still live in the eastern suburbs?" Huamin was curious. "My grandparents have retired. They have a courtyard house in the eastern suburbs. They like to play with some flowers and plants. They are very carefree." "That's true. Most of the city is being renovated. Only the eastern suburbs are left with single-story houses," Huamin said. "Yes, but it's going to be demolished soon. When that time comes, you'll be the 2nd generation of the demolition team." Huamin, by the way, Huamin, don't you think that Qin Chu treats you differently?" "Nope. We've been in the same class for almost 2 months, but we haven't spoken more than 20 sentences, Huamin said truthfully. "Then you should be content. We were classmates in junior high school. She was a girl. She went to school with Qin Chu for 3 years. There's something we haven't said to each other yet." "Huamin, are you shocked?" "Yes, a little bit. His personality is like that. He doesn't like to talk, especially to girls." Gao Ran said. "Can tell. But he seems a little willing to talk to you." "No, if he really wanted to talk to me he wouldn't have asked you to drive me home." Huamin smiled. "That's because you don't know what he's doing tonight." Gao Ran smiled mysteriously. Huamin was slightly surprised. Then Gao Ran continued, "Chu is the only child in his family. When he was 10 he followed his father to attend board meetings. When he was 15 he was able to attend board meetings on his own. Every Friday is a high-level meeting of GK and all the shareholders are there. This is an agreement between him and his father. Otherwise, why would he ask me to drive you home?" "I see." Huamin was quite shocked. To be honest, Qin Chu was only 17 or 18 years old. Every Friday after school he would go to the company for a meeting. That was quite impressive. Huamin. "Yeah. If Chu really pursues you, would you be willing?" Gao Ran asked nosily. Huamin's cheeks flushed slightly when he heard this. This kid had the same personality as Zhu Lingling. They didn't know how to be reserved at all. Chapter 4681. "The night is pretty good tonight." Huamin raised her head and looked at the sky. She didn't respond to Gao Ran's words at all. Gao Ran didn't know why Qin Chu was interested in this weird top student. However, he also knew that it wasn't easy to get anything out of Huamin. They walked like this and chatted for a while. Almost all of it was unimportant. Huamin knew very well that it was because of Qin Chu that Gao Ran was willing to send her all the way home. Therefore she naturally had to thank Gao Ran and Qin Chu. Huamin was puzzled. Shouldn't Qin Chu hate her? Before Huamin came to second high, Qin Chu had always been number 1. Now that Huamin was here, Qin Chu had become number 2 forever. Many students talked about it in private or tried to sow discord. However, Huamin never saw any hostility in Qin Chu's eyes. She had to admit that she was very happy about this. GK Corporation meeting room. After the meeting, Qin Chu's father didn't forget to ask his son. Chu, do you have anything to add? I don't think we need to bid against the Hua Corporation for the demolition project in the eastern suburbs, Qin Chu said. Tell me about it. Qin Chu's father looked at his son with interest. Qin Chu stood up. His black shirt was always so eye-catching. The young man had a rare calm aura on his face. The Hua Corporation has been counting on the rapid development of real estate for the past few years. Most of the land in the city center has been bought up by big developers. Although the government hasn't announced any plans for the future urban planning, it's obvious that the eastern suburbs will be a treasure trove. However, it won't be for the next few years. After all, the city's subways haven't been popularized yet. The eastern suburbs is far away, and even if we build a residential area, it won't be popular. People will still choose to leisurely choose prime locations. Therefore, we're investing a large amount of money there. I don't think it's necessary at all. Why don't we invest in new energy sources? I think that in the future we might consider the issue of environmental protection. Coal, fuel and the like polluting energy sources might be replaced. After Qin Chu finished speaking, the other shareholders nodded. President Qin has a point. Chairman, I don't think we should follow the Hua Corporation and get involved in the construction of shanty towns. GK didn't become what it is today because of real estate alone. President Qin has a point, we should focus on new energy sources. Energy sources might be a big cake in the future. We'll discuss this later. That's all for now. After the meeting, Qin Chu and his father walked out of the conference room one after the other. Get in the car. Your mom made soup. We'll drink it when we get back. Mr. Qin looked at his son lovingly. Dad, I have something to do. You can go back first. Should I ask the driver to drive you? It's okay. I'll take a taxi. Be careful. Qin Chu nodded. He picked up his jacket, left the company and got into a taxi. Then he called Gao Ran. To Huamin's surprise, before he could even go in, Qin Chu arrived. Sure enough, taking a taxi was faster than taking the bus. As soon as Gao Ran left, Qin Chu arrived. Are you here? Huamin looked at the travel-worn Qin Chu. Is there a movie theater near your house? He raised his head and looked into her eyes with his clear eyes. There's one. Let's go and watch a movie. Qin Chu didn't take no for an answer. He turned around and left. Huamin had no choice but to follow him with her backpack on her back and her head down. For the first time, Huamin felt that this man was a bit domineering. Chapter 4682. The movie theater near Huamin's house could only be described with one word: rundown. In other words, it was too rundown. It was a residential area for the commoners, so there was a lack of consumption. It was difficult to even afford food and drink, let alone spiritual food. Therefore, when the two of them arrived, there were not many people in the movie theater. There were only 3 couples sitting in the hall. Huamin followed behind Qin Chu without saying a word. Qin Chu went straight to the front desk to buy tickets. At that moment, Huamin saw clearly that although the movie theater was run down, the posters were new. A foreign girl in a red dress with a cool weapon in her hand. There were 4 big words written on the poster: Resident Evil. Huamin did not like to play games, so when Resident Evil was released in the early years, she did not play much. She did not understand what kind of movie it was. Until she walked in with Qin Chu, the two of them were at 9:50 p.m. Sitting in the rundown movie theater, there were only 7 people in the hall, including the two of them. When the movie was officially released, Huamin realized that she had been tricked by this guy. Because they did not prepare in advance, the name did not seem like a low-level horror movie. Therefore, Huamin had been watching it as a popcorn movie. She took advantage of the time when Qin Chu went to buy tickets. She also bought cola and popcorn. The two of them sat side by side in the 5th row. The 5th row was actually very close to the screen. At that time, there were no 3D theaters to speak of, especially a small movie theater like this. Therefore, Huamin happily sat in the 1st row, waiting to watch a much more enjoyable movie. However, as soon as the movie started, a zombie scene appeared without warning. The visual stimulation and sound effects scared Huamin so much that she trembled. Then she subconsciously moved closer to Qin Chu. Then this guy went crazy and asked her as if nothing had happened, "Are you okay?" "I'm fine." Huamin gritted her teeth. It had to be said that Chinchu was indeed very happy and enjoyed the whole process. Because he was a player of the Resident Evil game version, he resonated with the movie when he watched it. Huamin wasn't as scared as before after learning that it was a zombie film. Following the plot, he felt that it was really quite exciting. It was a supercomputer that was infected with a virus and turned into a villain, turning scientists into zombies. Thus, the protagonist entered into an endless mode of fighting zombies. This type of film was not popular in the country in the early years, so when it was first released, it was indeed very popular. In fact, Chinchu had already seen it once at the cinema in the city center. However, because she felt that it was very interesting, she decided to take Huamin to see it again. Of course, it was also a little prank. The truth was, she was indeed frightened at the beginning. She couldn't help but stick close to Chinchu. By the time they finished watching the movie, it was already 11 o'clock at night. After walking out of the cinema, Chinchu asked her, "Are you hungry?" "Okay." Huamin didn't pretend to grumble and rubbed her stomach. "Shall we eat barbecue?" "I'm fine with anything," Huamin said. At that time she was indeed a Buddhist woman. "If you go home late, won't your mom scold you?" he asked. "I told my mom that I'm with my classmates, so she won't worry." Actually, young Meirong's control over Huamin was considered relatively lax among the parents. This might have had something to do with Huamin's results. Her own child always came in first place without any suspense. How could she still ask her to do homework at home every day? "Then let's go and eat some barbecue." Chinchu was in a good mood. During the company meeting in the afternoon, he didn't eat much at the buffet, so he was a little hungry now. He took Huamin around Huamin's house and finally found a small shop that was open day and night. Chapter 4683. After the two of them went in and ordered some food, Chinchu lowered his head and took out his phone. Huamian was still gnawing on the unfinished popcorn in her hand. "Zhu Lingling likes Xing Yan?" Chinchu's sudden question surprised Huamin. After all, he wasn't the kind of person who liked to gossip. "No, it's just for fun." "Likes to join in the fun. The more you don't let her do something, the more she likes to do it." Chinchu put down his phone and glanced at Huamin. "It's best if it's not. You two should stay away from Xing Yan. He's fine, but Jiang Xiaoying's family background is a bit complicated. Gao Ran and I happen to meet and can help you fight. Also, it's only on campus. If you get stopped outside one day, you'll be in trouble." "Okay, I'll be careful." Huamin knew that Chinchu meant well and reminded her and Zhu Lingling. She didn't know Jiang Xiaoying's background, but she believed that Chinchu and Gao Ran should know. This was definitely not an alarmist talk. Besides, Zhu Lingling didn't like Xing Yan to begin with. She was just angry with the cheerleader. After chatting for a while, the skewers were ready. The two of them didn't talk much, so they tacitly ate the skewers as soon as they were served. Huamin didn't like fatty meat. Ever since he was a child, he didn't eat a single bite. Even when his mother cooked braised pork at home and Jixin ate it until his mouth was full of meat, Huamin didn't eat it. Therefore she picked out all the fatty meat in the skewers and only ate the lean meat. "You don't eat fatty meat?" Chinchu looked at Huamin. "Oh, why? It's disgusting." "Chinchu, if you like it, I'll give it to you so that it won't go to waste." Huamin deliberately pushed the fat meat in front of Chinchu. Unexpectedly, he looked at her with disdain. "In your dreams." Huamin couldn't help but laugh out loud. He didn't expect his reaction to be so cute. That devilish laughter made Chinchu even more disgusted. After dinner, Chinchu sent Huamin back. Although it was a civilian district, it was very quiet and safe at night. The people who lived in the neighborhood were all neighbors who had lived together for decades. Therefore, this place was not as complicated as the northern suburbs. There were people from all walks of life. The two of them walked back along the dark street lamps. Huamin was the first to break the silence. "I thought you would hate me," Huamin said. "Why?" Chinchu tilted his head and looked at the girl beside him. Her delicate side profile was even clearer in the night. It was very cute. "Because I heard, before I came you were always first in your grade. After I came, you were." After hesitating for a moment, Huamin decided to tell the truth. "After I came you were always number 2. Sure enough, after hearing this, Chinchu's face darkened slightly. "That's why I think you might treat me like a mortal enemy." "I do want to deal with you." That's why I took you to watch movies and eat barbecue. I'll destroy you with a sugar-coated bullet, Chin-Chu said. Really? Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. However, seeing how serious Chin-Chu was, he wasn't sure if it was true or not. This is only plan 1. There's also plan 2. Do you want to hear it? Chin-Chu suddenly said. Let me guess, are you going to dismember my body and throw me into a stinky ditch, to die on my own? Huamin laughed. Chin-Chu shook his head. Then you're going to take me to eat, drink, and play all day so that I won't have time to study? Huamin continued to guess. Chapter 4684. Chin-Chu continued to shake his head. Forget it, I can't guess. Hurry up and tell me, what's plan 2? Chin-Chu was silent for a moment before he said in a voice that was neither too loud nor too soft, date you and fall in love with you. Then I'll fall in love with you and be addicted to your tenderness. My grades will plummet. Huamin continued to joke. Chin-Chu shook his head again. After you become my girlfriend, even if you get first place every time, I won't be embarrassed. We'll be family anyway. What's the difference between first and second place? You've got a great plan. If I can't beat you, I'll bribe you, recruit you. Sooner or later I'll assimilate you. We'll become family. Huamin laughed happily. After all, she admired Chin-Chu's imagination and thought he was joking. Chin-Chu didn't deny it, nor did he continue to explain. He just smiled slightly. The truth was, it was a long way from the barbecue restaurant to Huamin's house. It would take at least 20 minutes to walk. However, as the two of them chatted and walked, they felt like time passed by very quickly. They arrived in no time. When they reached the door, Huamin turned around. I'm here. You're not going to walk back, are you? What are you thinking? It's 20 kilometers from your house to mine. If I have to walk for 3 days? Chin-Chu was speechless. It's not easy to get a taxi here. You might have to walk for more than 10 minutes to get to Shergo Road. It's okay. Thank you for the movie and barbecue today. Chin-Chu nodded. So, I've decided to repay you. I'll do fewer questions in the next monthly exam. I won't be too far behind you. I won't embarrass you too much. After speaking, Huamin ran in before Chin-Chu could say anything. Naughty. Chin-Chu looked at her back and smiled warmly. He knew that Huamin's personality was not the kind of person his classmates had seen. He slept in all day, ignored everyone, loved to act cool, and was a top student. Huamin was just a little girl who was afraid of trouble, didn't want to fight against each other, and didn't want to make false friendships. Actually, his thoughts were very pure, even purer than draft beer. Beneath those perfunctory appearances, there was a genuine, laughing, and occasionally amusing little girl. Chin-Chu liked it. He liked it very much. He didn't tell Huamin before Huamin came to second high. When I first saw her interview on TV, I felt that this young lady would definitely be my wife in the future. Chin-Chu didn't know where that strong feeling came from. Many years later, he realized that it wasn't love at first sight, and that it wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. It was only because it was fate that had accumulated over many, many years. When Huamin returned home, he walked quietly. He was afraid that he would wake up his mother and Jixin. However, he was still blocked by Jixin at the door. Sis. Oh my God, you scared me to death. Sis, you're back so late. Where did you go? I went out with my classmates. Male classmates? Jixin smiled evilly. Don't talk nonsense. It must be. Sis, are you in a relationship? Jixin asked mysteriously. Talk your head. Lin Yichin snorted. Of course, otherwise you wouldn't be back so late. You smell like barbecue. Looks like you went for supper. You're finished, sis. If I tell Mom that you're in a relationship, Mom will definitely break your legs. Jing Jixin, if you keep talking nonsense, I'll break your legs first. But if you buy me an ice cream cone, I might not tell your secret. Jixin secretly threatened his sister. Chapter 4685. You look like an ice cream cone. Huamin punched Jixin's head and quickly closed the door. My sister is so violent, I don't even know if she'll get married in the future. Jixin looked at his sister's door and sighed slightly. But reality proved that Jixin was overthinking. Not only would Huamin get married, but she would also be very popular. Huamin stayed up late on Friday, so on Saturday morning she slept until 10:30 a.m. Her mother was afraid that she would be too tired from studying, so she didn't wake her up. When Huimin got up, no one was at home. As usual, there was rice in the pot. Xixin must have gone to play soccer with his friends, and her mother must have gone to the nearby mountains with the neighbors to pick some mushrooms and dig up some wild vegetables. After Huimin got up, she washed up and ate quietly. In the pot there was white rice, her favorite steamed egg custard, and a serving of garlic stir-fried meat. Halfway through the meal, she received a call from Zhu Lingling. "Myung, what are you doing?" "Eating." "Damn it, it's 10 a.m. What are you eating? Breakfast or lunch?" "Either is fine." Huimin smiled. "Did Gao Rang give it to you last night?" "Yeah." "Did anything romantic happen between you two?" "No." "Pish, I don't believe it. That guy is so perverted, how could he not say anything romantic to you?" Zhu Lingling didn't want to give up and continued to ask. Huimin ate while holding her phone. "Gao Ran is obsessed with looks. He didn't like me to begin with. I'm just plain noodle. He likes beautiful women, gorgeous women." "Oh yeah, women like you. Don't talk nonsense. I don't like him, he's a pervert." "How is he a pervert?" Huimin couldn't help but laugh. "He looks wretched. He always pretends to be handsome. I heard that he flirts with all the pretty girls in the 8th class. He calls them his first wife or second wife." "Oh, if that's the case, then if you're with him, wouldn't you be the 13th concubine's wife?" Huimin suddenly thought of the 13th mistress in Huang Fei Hong and laughed happily. "Motherfucker. Can you stop letting your imagination run wild? Let's not talk about this. What's the plan for today?" "Nothing. I'll take you out to play." "No, I'm a good kid." "Billiards, wanna play? It's really, really fun. I just learned it from someone last week. There's a billiard hall near the school. It's really cheap. 20 yuan is enough for a day." "No, 20 yuan is too expensive." "I'm not going either." "Oh. Why are you like this?" "Then I'll go to your house to find you. If you don't come with me, I'll eat and drink at your house." After speaking, Zhu Lingling hung up the phone before Huimin could say anything. Huimin was speechless. It was true that Zhu Lingling liked to play. She had been like this since high school. Later on, they would often go to nightclubs and KTV, but this didn't affect their friendship. Huimin didn't like those kinds of places, but he would accompany Zhu Lingling there. Huimin said that he didn't want to play billiards, but Zhu Lingling couldn't resist her coaxing. In the end, he still went. However, he didn't expect to run into some trouble at the billiard hall this time. Many of the billiard halls near the school were run by hooligans. At that time, the crackdown on gangs wasn't so strict. Many hooligans who dropped out of school in their teens followed hooligans in their 20s and called them Big Brother. They thought they were gangsters. Zhu Lingling heard from her classmates that it was cheap to play billiards here, but she didn't expect it to be a gathering place for hooligans. Therefore, the moment the two of them entered, they were targeted. Chapter 4686. Huimin liked plain colors, so she always wore jeans, a white short-sleeved shirt and a ponytail. Zhu Lingling liked bright colors, so she wore a bright yellow floral dress. Her long hair fell over her shoulders and she even wore a headband that matched her dress. It had to be said that she was a beauty at first glance. She was the prettiest girl in class 1, and she was also famous on the school's beauty rankings. Open the table. No matter what Zhu Lingling played, she was very open. As soon as she entered, she asked the 5 colleges to open the table. The innermost one is not bad. It's quiet. Huimin pointed at the innermost table. Okay. The two of them walked in. Huimin didn't know much about billiards, but with her talent, Zhu Lingling simply explained it to her and she caught the essence. The two of them began to play. After playing 2 rounds, they were quite addicted. They didn't notice that people on the second floor were already quietly talking about them. The 2 girls downstairs are not bad, especially the one in the yellow dress. She has big breasts and white legs. Ah, that's a famous beauty from our school. And she's in the experimental class. The experimental class is good. He's good at studying. I just want to find a girl who's good at studying to play with. Big Brother June, should I go down and call her up for you now? No need. Let them play first. We'll talk after they're done. The man called Big Brother June had a face full of pockmarks. He looked like a bird that would sprain its foot if it landed on him. His hair was dyed yellow and he wore a black short-sleeved shirt with a skull on it. His jeans were torn and there was a tattoo on his arm that looked like a top. Waiter, 2 bottles of soda. Zhu Lingling waved her hand. A 17 or 18-year-old boy immediately walked over with 2 bottles of soda. How much is it? Zhu Lingling asked. It's free. Big Brother June said that he's treating you guys to it. Big Brother June? Zhu Lingling was a little confused. She searched her mind but couldn't find anyone who knew this Big Brother June. You know him? Huamin asked her quietly. Zhu Lingling shook her head. Thank you for your kindness, Brother June, but I can afford it. Zhu Lingling took out her small and exquisite purse, took out 2 yuan from it and stuffed it into the waiter's hand. At that time, glass bottles of soda were very cheap, 1 yuan a bottle. Zhu Lingling was better off than Huamin. She was the only child in her family, so she had more freedom in her pocket money. The waiter was in a difficult position. He didn't say much and took the money back to the 2nd floor. He seemed to have a few words with Brother June. After 7 or 8 rounds, the 2 of them felt a little tired. Mion, what do you want to eat? You've already treated me to billiards and drinks. I'll treat you to food later. Huamin knew that Zhu Lingling was richer than him. But as friends, it was better to reciprocate. After all, he couldn't always let Zhu Lingling spend money. Okay, then I want to eat hot and sour noodles and beef patties. Sure. Huamin smiled. These snacks were very cheap and the ones near the school were even more cost-effective. So Huamin touched the 50 yuan in his pocket with confidence. However, when the 2 of them put down their billiard cues and walked out, they ran into some trouble. Beauties, wait a minute. Zhu Lingling and Huamin both turned around. You two, our boss, Brother June, wants to meet you. Your boss? We don't know him. Zhu Lingling said. Yes, it's because we don't know him that we want to meet. Brother June is very famous around here. If you two become friends with Brother June, you can come and play for free in the future. Forget it, let's go. Huamin held Zhu Lingling's hand. She didn't want her and Lingling to interact with these young men. It wasn't because she was prejudiced but because she felt that as students, it was better not to have too complicated social relationships. Chapter 4687. Unexpectedly, they couldn't even leave. Unbeknownst to them, a few men who were playing billiards downstairs had gathered around them. 6 or 7 of them surrounded Huamin and Zhu Lingling. This sense of crisis was different from the last time they were in school. The last time they were in school, so nothing could have happened. But this time they were outside of school and it was the weekend. No one would meddle in their business. Huamin thought to himself, oh no, there's trouble. Pretty lady, don't be so rude. Our boss appreciates the 2 of you. If you don't give him face, our Brother June will be very angry. What do you mean? Are you forcing us? Zhu Lingling was very angry. You can't say that. It's fate that the 2 of you came here today. Since it's fate, isn't it good to be friends? I'm not going. I don't believe that you won't let us go forever. Zhu Lingling's temper was very stubborn. Where's your boss? I want to talk to him. Huamin glanced at the few minions calmly. The boys probably didn't expect Huamin to say this. They looked at each other. Why aren't you calling your boss down? Zhu Lingling glared at them. Then one of the minions ran up and called the guy called Brother June down. When the guy called Brother June came down, his eyes never left Zhu Lingling's thighs. He looked like a pervert. In fact, there were very few young people who valued friendship and loyalty. Most of them were like gangsters on TV. Many of these people took advantage of their hooligans' temper and took liberties with students. Some even seduced high school girls and made them pregnant. Then they irresponsibly brought them to illegal clinics for abortions. They were very cruel to these ignorant children. Hello, sisters. Brother June said with a smile, holding a cigarette in his hand. You're the boss here? Huamin asked him. Yes. So you kept the 2 of us because you wanted to be friends? That simple? Huamin asked directly. The man called Brother June looked at Zhu Lingling. To be honest, I'm very interested in this little sister of mine. I want to be boyfriend and girlfriend. Young people in this kind of society were very shameless. The first time they met, they wanted to be boyfriend and girlfriend. What's the difference between this and those bandits in the mountain villages in ancient times? Isn't this kidnapping women? What if my friend doesn't want to? Huamin asked. After Huamin asked this question, Brother June laughed. The surrounding hooligans also laughed. There's never been a woman that I don't like. Brother June seemed to be very confident. Motherfucker. I just don't want. Can you kill me? Zhu Lingling had a bad temper. She was furious when she heard what others said. Huamin pressed down on her hand, indicating that he would not let her continue to be angry. So if my friend doesn't agree, we'll be in trouble, right? Brother Jun glanced at Huamin with admiration. Little girl, you're very smart. How about this? Since you've been around for so long, you're considered a reputable person, then you should have heard of someone who. Brother Jun was also interested when he saw that Huamin wanted to mention someone. Hua Xiqian. Do you know him? Huamin asked him. Hearing Hua Xiqian's name, Brother Jun and the hooligans beside him were shocked. You know Hua Xiao? Take note that the person called Brother Jun politely addressed him as Hua Xiao. Huamin wanted to take a gamble, but he didn't expect it to really work. In fact, Huamin and Hua Xiqian had only met less than 3 times. Chapter 4688. However, Huamin was smart because she knew how to make good use of people. Although she didn't have a good impression of Hua Xiqian and the Huas, she heard that Hua Xiqian was doing well in the underworld. When Huamin was in high school, Hua Xiqian was about to graduate from university. He went abroad to further his studies after graduating and then came back to inherit his family business. Therefore, Hua Xiqian was still in the Huaxia Empire at the time. He was studying at a famous university in the country. Although his character was questionable, Hua Xiqian was undoubtedly a straight-A student. Yes, Hua Xiqian is my friend. Hee little girl, you're not lying to me, are you? You have a mouth, so of course you can say whatever you want. This big brother Jun was quite cunning. He didn't believe Huamin's one-sided story. After all, he had been in the underworld before and didn't want to be fooled by a little girl. Huamin couldn't even bear to look at this big brother Jun's face. After all, his face was full of bumps and bruises. It was really scary. If you don't believe me, you can call him and ask. Of course, if you have his number. Huamin's tone had a hint of arrogance. Big brother Jun, how about we ask brother Yang to call Hua Xiao? What if they really work for Hua Xiao? If we offend them? Yeah, that's a good idea. You call Lu Yang. After listening to his subordinate's analysis, Big Brother Jun also felt that they couldn't be so reckless. Although it was true that he was lustful, his fear of Hua Xiqian was also real. This young master of the Hua family was already very famous in the university. He had a lot of women and money. It was said that he had a very violent temper and was the type to seek revenge for the smallest grievance. With Big Brother Jun's small status, he naturally wouldn't be able to come into contact with Hua Xiqian. However, their leader was Hua Xiqian's underling. Therefore, in order to prove whether Huamin's words were true or not, he could only get someone to contact Hua Xiqian and ask. Miao, what are you doing? How do you know Hua Xiqian? Although Zhu Lingling was close to Huamin, she didn't know that she was the illegitimate daughter of the Hua family. Therefore, they thought that Huamin was spouting nonsense to help them out. It's okay, don't be afraid. Huamin only said 4 words. She knew that if she didn't take out something today, she might really be in trouble. Of course, she had originally planned to let Qin Chu come, but there were too many people here and these gangsters did not hold back. What if Qin Chu and Gao Ran came and got injured? After thinking about it, she decided to use Hua Xiqian as a shield first. At that moment, Hua Xiqian was flirting with girls in a cafe. He hugged an innocent junior from university and kissed her. When he received the call, he thought it was a prank. Really? That girl said she knows me. She said she's my friend. But I don't remember having a high school friend. Hua Xiqian looked down and laughed. His female companion was pressed tightly against his chest. He held his phone with one hand and moved his other hand up and down her back. His movements were extremely flirtatious. Sister, Hua Xiao said he doesn't know any high school girls. Are you messing with us? The guy called Big Brother Jun glared at Huamin with a gloomy expression. It would be embarrassing if they were fooled. Then they couldn't let them leave today. Zhu Lingling also felt a little guilty. She wanted to find an opportunity to run away with Huamin. Tell Hua Xiqian that I'm Huamin. Huamin threw out this sentence calmly as if the name Huamin was a famous person. Chapter 4689. Mr. Jun asked Hua Xiqian carefully. Mr. Hua, I'm so sorry to bother you again. That girl said. Her name is Huamin. Mr. Jun was also thinking that since they both had the same surname, could they be related? Maybe she was a distant relative of the Hua family? That was why he believed Huamin and called Hua Xiqian again. Of course, Hua Xiqian might not even know who he was. Huasiqian's face changed when he heard Huamin's name. Oh, Huamin. Huasiqian thought he heard wrong. It's Huamin. Do you know her? Mr. Jun asked carefully. She's with you right now? Huasiqian continued to ask. Yes, Mr. Hua. Address. Huh. Mr. Jun didn't know how to react. Give me the address. Huasiqian gritted his teeth and repeated. Mr. Jun quickly told him the address. Don't touch her. I'll be there right away. After hanging up, Mr. Jun looked at Huamin with a complicated expression. Mr. Jun, what did Mr. Hua say? Does he know them or not? The person beside him was also very anxious. Mr. Hua said, he'll be there right away. Mr. Jun wasn't sure what their relationship was, but he could confirm one thing from Huasiqian's words. Huasiqian and Huamin knew each other. Therefore he couldn't touch the two women in front of him no matter what. Before Huasiqian hung up, he didn't forget to remind him not to touch her. Sure enough, it only took 15 minutes. Huasiqian drove a very flashy orange BMW sports car. There was only one woman in the car and it was his date. He didn't have any underlings, but Huasiqian's face was recognized everywhere he went. His style of dressing was very exaggerated. Perhaps this habit really started many years ago. Huasiqian wore a dark red shirt with diamonds at the cuffs. As soon as he walked in, the hooligans all stood at attention. Mr. Hua. This brother Jun immediately went over like a lackey. Mr. Hua, you're here. Who's there? Huasiqian didn't want to talk to this person and asked directly. Over there. Huasiqian followed brother Jun's finger and walked over. As expected, he saw Huamin in jeans and a white short-sleeved shirt. He narrowed his eyes and looked from head to toe to. Huamin didn't like Huamin and didn't like Min didn't like him. Therefore she didn't say anything and just looked at him quietly. Little sister Mion. I'm glad you thought of me. Huasiqian smiled. Huamin thought of him when she was in danger. This surprised Huasiqian, but he was also very happy. Can we go now? Huamin asked Mr. Jun directly. Huasiqian called Huamian little sister, which was enough to prove their relationship. Mr. Jun was so scared that he almost peed his pants. He immediately nodded. I'm sorry, Miss Hua. What happened today was a misunderstanding. I'm sorry for wasting your time. You're welcome to play basketball in the future. It's free for life. Huamin glared at him. I'm never coming to your place again. Lingling, let's go. Huamin pulled Zhu Lingling out. Little sister Mion, I'll drive you. Huasiqian was very attentive. Huamin glanced at the sports car at the door and the girl in the passenger seat. She turned around and asked Huasiqian with a serious expression, drive me? Where do we sit? On the hood of your sports car? Chapter 4690. Huamin's words made Huasiqian chuckle. You can let your friends sit in the front passenger seat and I can ask the person in the front passenger seat to get out immediately, Huasiqian said confidently. What about me? Huamin really wanted to ask him. If Lingling sat in the front passenger seat, what about him? You can sit on my lap. Huasiqian said such shameless words in such a dignified manner. Zhu Lingling was a jokester, but even she was flabbergasted. Luckily Huamin's face was calm. That's not necessary, I don't have the habit of sitting on other people's laps. But I'm not just anyone. We're family, Huasiqian said meaningfully. Huashao, since you're so sincere, why don't you give me the keys? You two get out of the car and give me the car? Huamin actually wanted to argue with him, since he was openly flirting with him just now. To his surprise, Huasiqian took out the BMW keys from his pocket and threw them into Huamin's arms. Even the girl sitting in the front passenger seat was shocked. Zhu Lingling's mouth opened into the shape of a goose's egg. If you like it, take it. As long as you're happy. Huasiqian continued to smile gently. Huamin quickly threw the keys to him. I'm still underage, I don't know how to drive. Then he grabbed Zhu Lingling and ran away in a panic. Huasiqian was left behind, watching Huamin's back as he ran away, and his smile seemed to grow even wider. Huashao. What happened today? Behind him, brother Jun seemed to want to explain things to Huasiqian in order to build a good relationship. Huasiqian turned around and his face darkened as he looked at the shabby billiard hall. Don't open this shop anymore. Don't ever appear near Second High again. With that, Huasiqian opened the car door, got into the car and sped off. Brother Jun was speechless. He really regretted letting those two girls stay. Because of a girl he couldn't even keep the shop open. This kind of action was really heart-wrenching. Qian, that girl just now. Don't ask what you shouldn't. Qian said this with a smile, but the girl still felt that he was really fierce. After running away, the two of them went to eat hot and sour noodles and pies. This was what Huamin had promised to treat Lingling to. Even when the two of them were sitting in the snack bar, Zhu Lingling didn't forget to ask. Wow, Mian, you're amazing. I didn't know there were so many hidden talents in our class. What kind of background do you have? I don't have a background, I only have a back view. Huamin lowered his head. I don't believe you, I don't believe you. Hurry up and tell me. How do you know Huashao? Damn, this is the first time I've seen him up close. I've seen him once before, but from afar. I heard he's really popular at T University. He changes 7 girlfriends a year. How would I know about him? Then he came to save us just now. Oh? It's probably because my family is a little bit related to his family. Distant relatives. Huamin began to talk nonsense with a straight face. Ah, he just said he wanted you to sit on his lap. Oh my god. Zhu Lingling thought that Qian's flirting skills were really amazing. No wonder he had so many girls around him. With my weight, I'm afraid I'll break his leg if I sit on him. Huamin said calmly. Ah, oh, why do you look like you don't like him? Huashao is pretty handsome. He's rich and handsome. You should go to the eye doctor, Lingling. Zhu Lingling. Mian, tell me the truth, do you like the guys in Qin Chu's group? Zhu Lingling suddenly asked in a mysterious tone. Chapter 4691. Why are you talking about him all of a sudden? Because I feel that you treat him differently. Don't talk nonsense. I treat everyone the same. You're the only one I treat differently. Don't change the subject. I'm serious. Do you think people like Qin Chu are the most handsome? Yeah. He's indeed handsome. What about Gao Ran, Xing Yan and Qi Hong? You can add them together and compare them. You're so boring. Do you want to compare? Gao Ran is handsome. I think Gao Ran is the most handsome. Why? Zhu Lingling was surprised to hear Huamin's answer. I just think he's handsome. Although he doesn't look serious, he's very handsome. Damn. Don't tell me you're interested in that perverted man. Forget it. I'm still young. Don't lead a minor astray, Zhu Lingling. The two of them giggled as they ate the hot and sour noodles and pancakes. After digesting, they went to the school's badminton hall to play for a while. When they came out, Zhu Lingling didn't forget to look at the basketball court. Huamin also remembered what Qin Chu had told him before. Lingling, you're not interested in that captain to begin with. Let's stay away from him in the future. Those outsiders are all related to him. We don't want to get involved in that mess. Okay. Zhu Lingling wasn't an insensible person. She understood what Huamin meant and nodded. Zhu Lingling actually wanted to see if that kid from class 8 was there. Did he play basketball with Qin Chu? Surprisingly, they didn't come over during the weekend. She didn't know where they went. Let's go to the movies tomorrow. Forget it, I'm not interested in movies. You don't have to pay. My dad has a lot of free coupons. I heard that there's a big movie out. It's a Hollywood production. It's called Biohazard. Biohazard? Huamin corrected her. Yes, Biohazard. How do you know? Many places are advertising this film. Huamin said guiltily. I thought you saw it already. No, Huamin denied immediately. If Lingling found out that she had watched a movie with Qin Chu, had a barbecue and even sent her home, she would be furious. She didn't know how big of an explosion it would cause. Moreover, with such a big mouth, she might accidentally spread the news. Then let's go see it tomorrow. No, I don't like horror movies. Huamin refused again. How boring. Then I'll find a guy to watch it with me. The two of them chatted as they walked. When they reached the bus stop, they parted ways and went home separately. Perhaps it was because there were too many people on Saturday, but Huamin stood there and waited for 20 minutes for the bus to come. She was so anxious that she walked down one more station, but he still didn't come. Then he heard the whispers of the people next to him. It seemed that there was a traffic accident on a certain road. Many cars were stuck there, unable to pass. Huamin sighed slightly. Just as she was about to look for her change to see if it was enough to call a taxi. Just then, a black Audi A8 slowly stopped in front of her. The car door was opened from the inside and Huamin saw a familiar face. Get in. Huamin was slightly surprised and hesitated. It's going to rain soon, get in first, Qin Chu said. Huamin slowly walked over and sat in the back seat next to Qin Chu. Why are you here? Huamin asked him in a low voice. I just came back from some errands and happened to pass by. There was an accident on Tianqiao Road. The bus that you always take was loaded onto a white car. I don't think it's done yet. It'll take a long time. Thank you. Young master, where are we going now? The driver asked Qin Chu. Huamin thought that she would say the eastern suburbs. After all, he knew where she lived. To the hotel, Qin Chu only said 3 words. Huamin looked at him in shock. Chapter 4692. Back then GK only owned one 5-star hotel and it was named after GK. Huamin never thought that Qin Chu would want to go to a hotel. His heart skipped a beat, but he was too embarrassed to ask. After all, other than the 2 of them there was also a driver. On the way, Huamin kept glancing at Qin Chu trying to figure out what was going on. Unfortunately, this guy didn't even look at him. When they finally arrived at the hotel, Qin Chu got out of the car first. The driver came over and said, Young lady, my young master asked me to take you to the lounge. Huamian followed the chauffeur into the hotel lobby in a daze. On the 2nd floor of the hotel lobby, there was an elegant tea room. Huamin was taken into a luxurious lounge by the driver. Young master has something to take care of. Please take a seat and wait for a moment. Okay. Huamin nodded and the driver left. A waiter came in and brought Huamin exquisite snacks and coffee. Huamin looked around and sighed silently. He didn't know what Qin Chu was up to. The truth was Qin Chu still had things to do. He was passing by 2nd High and happened to see her waiting for a bus. Qin Chu knew that the bus she usually took had an accident, so he picked her up and brought her here. He had to meet a client for his father and discuss a business deal. Qin Chu probably took Huamin's feelings into consideration, so it took less than 20 minutes for him to finish the discussion. He didn't even have time to send the client off and went straight to the lounge. When he came in, Huamin was reading a magazine, all of which were gossip news. After Qin Chu came in, he sat down on the sofa across from Huamin. Then he picked up a macaron. What are you doing? Huamin looked up at him. I'm helping my dad with something. Are you hungry? I'm not hungry, I just ate with Lingling not long ago. Okay, I'll take you home. Qin Chu hurriedly put the snack in his mouth and took a big gulp of coffee. It was obvious that he was tired. You haven't eaten yet? Yeah. Qin Chu nodded honestly. No way, you're a student. Why are you acting like a businessman? Huamin looked at him with a complicated expression. This is my family's business, if I don't do it, my dad. Hearing Qin Chu's words, Huamin at least he knew how to share his father's. I'm not in a hurry to go back. Why don't you eat first? It would take at least an hour to get there and out in the way. Seeing that it was already so late and he still hadn't eaten, Huamian's heart softened. Okay, you can eat with me. Qin Chu's tone was very formal, but it sounded like he was acting coquettishly. Huamin was about to refuse when he asked, Do you like spicy food? Can you eat spicy food? I'm okay. Huamin pondered. Then let's go, I'll take you to eat Sichuan food. With that, Qin Chu turned around and left. Huamin could only silently follow behind. Qin Chu brought Huamin directly to the Chinese restaurant on the top floor. It was a Sichuan restaurant in a hotel. The decoration was very high-end and there were dazzling crystal lights everywhere. Spicy boiled fish, Qin Chu ordered the waiter. Okay, young master. What do you like to eat? Qin Chu asked her. She was about to say that she wasn't hungry. Then this domineering guy said, Make a brown sugar glutinous rice cake for my friend. Chapter 4693. As a northerner, she had never eaten brown sugar glutinous rice cake before. Qin Chu's words made Huamin swallow the words he was about to say. Then she sat quietly and accompanied this egomaniac to eat. Qin Chu did not have the habit of being extravagant, so he did not order a lot of dishes. It was just enough for 2 people. There were 2 meat dishes, 2 vegetables, 1 soup and 1 dessert. It was the brown sugar glutinous rice cake he ordered for Huamin. Huamin was not hungry because he had eaten a lot with Xu Lingling. However, he could not resist the temptation. After eating a piece of brown sugar glutinous rice cake, he could not stop himself. He finished the whole plate in one go. She did not have the slightest intention of being reserved or ladylike. Chin Chu ate elegantly opposite him. He looked at Huamin's face and only smiled slightly. Even if he was really busy today, he was still in a good mood to see this girl. Where did you two go today? Playing billiards, Huamin thought for a while and answered. You know how to play billiards too? No, I learned it from Lingling. She really knows everything. I'm curious. With your personality, you can actually become friends with someone like Xu Lingling. In other words, Chin Chu did not mean to belittle him. He just felt that Xu Lingling was very outgoing and Huamin was very reserved. One was active and the other was quiet. I also didn't expect you to be friends with Gao Ran. Huamin made a beautiful counterattack. After hearing Huamin's words, Chin Chu was first stunned, then he smiled. You really don't lose out. Huamin did not say anything. After eating and drinking, he looked out the window silently. This was the restaurant on the top floor of the 38th floor. The scenery was exceptionally beautiful when looking down from here, especially when looking down at the night view of the entire city. Then such a scene was fixed in the young man's heart. He sat there and ate elegantly. Opposite him was a young girl whose eyes were filled with spirit. From time to time she would even say a few words to you. When she smiled, she was not pretentious. His eyes, which were neither too big nor too small, seemed to have an indescribable magical power. Chin Chu felt inexplicably comfortable when he was with her. She didn't know why, but she felt free and at ease. That kind of atmosphere was very good. Even if the two of them didn't speak for a long time, they wouldn't feel awkward. By the time Chin Chu finished his meal, it was already 1.5 hours later. I'll send you home. All right. The two of them immediately went downstairs. Huamin thought that the chauffeur would send them back. After all, with Chin Chu's family background, it was normal for him to have a few drivers. But Chin Chu took her to a white Porsche 918. He said, "Get in the car." At this time Huamin was a little surprised. "Don't tell me you'll drive it." "Why? Don't you trust me?" Chin Chu looked at her. "Please. Do you have a driver's license?" "I'm scared to death." At that time driver's licenses weren't widespread. Moreover, they were all in their first year of high school. Logically speaking, they weren't old enough. "It's okay. If we die together." "Why is that so unlucky? Let's go." With that, Chin Chu opened the car door and got into the driver's seat. Huamin didn't know what she was thinking at that time. Her brain twitched and she obediently sat in the passenger seat. After sitting in the car, she was still a little nervous. Hence, she turned to look at the young man beside her. "Big brother, drive slowly." Chin Chu smiled brightly. "Don't worry, sis. I'll definitely drive slowly." Huamin. Chapter 4694. Originally, Huamin was just saying it casually, but after Chin Chu answered, the two of them seemed even more rustic. If it weren't for the fact that this wasn't the right place, Huamin would have laughed to death. How could a young man with a flawless face speak in a northeastern dialect the moment he opens his mouth? That scene was simply too hilarious. It was so out of place. Chin Chu drove very steadily. He didn't speed just to show off. Along the way he took the route around the sea. He could see the seaside scenery and didn't get stuck in traffic. However, the downside was that it was much farther. He took a detour of almost half the city. Finally, he dropped her off at her door. Because the path in front of Huamin's house was crowded, Chin Chu only drove to a nearby intersection. After parking the car, he got out of the car. "You can drop me off here. I'll walk there. It'll only take 3 minutes." Huamin pointed at the door. "I'll drive you." "No, thank you. I'll drive you." "It's really not necessary. I'll drive you." No matter what Huamin said, Chin Chu insisted that he would drive her. After repeating it 3 times, Huamin felt like he had lost. "Are you a repeater?" She laughed. Chin Chu didn't say anything. He followed behind her and walked in the direction of her house. "Your driving is actually pretty good. I think when you're old enough you can get a driver's license." Huamin tried to find a topic to talk about. "I already got my driver's license." "No way, did your dad get you in through the back door?" Huamin looked at him in surprise. "Chin Chu, I got my license overseas. but I can also get it from an international license to a domestic license. So complicated. Fine, my boss doesn't understand the world of rich people like you. Huamin smiled and continued walking. Huamin. Yeah. You have a good name, he said. I sound like a boy, right? My name is a bit weird. When I was in elementary school, even calling my teacher's name sounded weird. But my name doesn't have any deep meaning. It's just that my mom wants me to eat and sleep well in the future. He smiled without saying a word. What about you? Why are you called Chin Chu? Does your mother's name have the word Chu in it? Huamin's imagination ran wild. Oh. Then why? My parents' hometown was located in the Qin and Chu kingdoms during the Warring States period. My grandfather's generation liked to study ancient history, so they gave it this name. Huamin gave her a thumbs up. Good name, good meaning. In the blink of an eye, Huamin arrived at the door. Thank you for sending me back. Otherwise, I would still be waiting for the bus like an idiot. Do you only use your mouth to thank people? Chin Chu looked at her seriously. What else? Huamin was stunned. He thought to himself, what does this guy mean? Is he asking for a favor? Before Huamin could react, Chin Chu walked over. His tall body hugged her in his arms. You're welcome. After saying these 4 words, Chin Chu turned around and got into the car. Huamin was left standing on the spot, dumbfounded. Was she hugged by someone just now? Oh my god. Oh my god. Huamian was usually quick on the uptake when it came to other things, but she was really slow on the uptake. However, when it came to matters between men and women, she was usually slow. The most embarrassing thing was, after Chin Chu left, Huamin was still standing there in a daze. At this moment, Auntie Lu walked over from next door. Mian, it's really you. That boy just now was, ahem. That's my best friend, Huamin explained in a hurry. Chapter 4695. Best friend. He's clearly a boy. You're wrong, Auntie. She's a girl. He's a boy. She likes to wear boys' clothes. Oh, I see. After making up stories with the neighbor, Huamin quickly covered her face and ran home. When she got home, her mother and Jixin were watching a melodramatic drama on TV at 8 o'clock. It was about a man who killed his first wife with his mistress. His wife came back from the dead and came back to take revenge, torturing the mistress and the scumbag. To be honest, during that era when Qiangyao was still tormenting people, the ratings for such a cool TV series would explode. Her mother and Jixin were both enjoying the show, so they didn't care if Huamin came home late or where she went. Huamin washed her face, changed into her pajamas and quickly crawled into bed. Then, unwilling to give up, she sent Chin Chu a text. Yes, only text messages were popular back then. What did you mean just now? After sending the message, Huamian felt a little regretful. She shouldn't have asked. She wanted to delete it, but there was no such function back then. She could only cover herself with the blanket in exasperation. She thought that Chin Chu was still driving and wouldn't be able to see it, nor would he be able to reply in time. She didn't expect Chin Chu to reply so quickly. Chin Chu, nothing. Huamin, nothing. Are you hugging me? Chin Chu, I hug Gao Ran so often too. Is there a problem? Huamin, damn, Gao Ran is your best friend, am I? Chin Chu, aren't you? Huamin, Chin Chu, damn it, if you dare to use my best friend's name to take advantage of me again, I'll chop off your dog paws. Seeing that she was angry, Chin Chu laughed as he drove. He was in a good mood. In order not to affect his texting with her, Chin Chu slowly parked the car in a parking space by the side of the road. Then he focused on texting her. Chin Chu, does that mean I can continue to take advantage of you after you become my girlfriend? Huamin, what kind of logic is this? Chin Chu, it's settled then. Huamin, wait, what do you mean by settled? Chin Chu didn't reply either. Huamin felt like he had fallen into a trap. In the blink of an eye, the weekend had passed. On Monday it was time for the monthly test. The students were all frowning. A few of them who had good grades were full of confidence. Mion, if only I were in the same exam room as you, I would be able to copy your answers, Zhu Lingling said in a low voice. That's enough. You're a special student. It's fine as long as you can pass the exam. Don't be too hard on yourself. Motherfucker. Are you mocking me? What's wrong with being a special student? Do special students have no pride? During class, everyone was laughing and playing. A boy from class 2 next door walked in. He was chubby and a little cute. He wasn't very tall and made his school uniform look chubby. "Excuse me, are you Huamin?" As soon as this kid came in, he went straight to the last row and walked up to Huamin. Yes. Huamin was stunned. "Oh, Huamin. I want to be your girlfriend." This little fatty had just made the most abrupt confession in history. The entire class was in an uproar. Who are you?" Huamin was confused. "I'm from class 2. My name is Wu Jingjing." "What did you just say?" "Say it again." Huamin asked him. "I said my name is Wu Jingjing." "No, before that. I want to be your girlfriend." "No, before that." Huamin corrected him. The chubby boy thought hard and suddenly realized something. "Oh, I remember now. I just asked, are you Huamian's classmate?" "I'm not." Huamin immediately shook his head and denied it. The little fatty. Chapter 4696. After Huamin said this, it was the chubby boy's turn to be dumbfounded. He was such an honest child, how could he have known that Huamin would be so naughty? After he said this, the entire class burst into laughter. The chubby boy's eyes were also filled with tears. Zhu Lingling couldn't stand it anymore. "Hey, don't cry. You're a boy, why are you crying?" I really like Huamin," Wu Jingjing said in a choked voice. "What do you like about her?" Zhu Lingling couldn't help but laugh. "I like that she's good at studying. My mom said that if I find a wife who's good at studying, her children will also be good at studying." After Zhu Lingling heard this, she laughed like a pig being slaughtered. Huamin held his forehead, sweating profusely. The lines in his heart were, "Hey, aren't you thinking too much?" After Zhu Lingling finished laughing, she pointed at the chubby boy. Come, let me give you some pointers. Our Mion also likes girls who are good at studying. When you get in front of her for the exam, you can give it a try. Maybe she'll say yes." The chubby boy froze and was extremely disappointed. "That's probably not possible, she's first in the entire grade." "What about you?" "I'm ranked 876 in the entire grade." "Haha, it's okay, you're only 800 places away. Good luck. Where there's a will, there's a way." Zhu Lingling cheered the chubby boy on, but the chubby boy still felt that his chances were slim. He left sadly and disappointedly. Before he left, he didn't forget to say to Huamin, you should lower your expectations. It's easy for you not to find a boyfriend like this." Huamin was speechless. "Fuck? Are you cursing me?" Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Zhu Lingling laughed even more happily. This day was full of fun and there was no need to watch comedies. The speaker didn't mean it, but the listener took it seriously. 3 days after the end of the monthly test, Teacher Yao announced the results. When the results were announced, she purposely said, "Students, I'm going to announce the results now. The results this time are a little surprising." "What's there to be surprised about?" "It's just that our class is number 1 again." "Huamin is number 1 in our class," someone shouted. Teacher Yao smiled and looked around. Then she continued, "Our class is indeed the first in the entire grade for this monthly exam. Our overall results are very stable." The students seemed a little numb. Ever since school started, there had been a small test every 3 days and a big test every 5 days. Exams were already a common occurrence for them. But Mr. Yao's words piqued everyone's interest. Huamin was lying in the last row. He was already very sleepy. However, out of respect for the homeroom teacher, she forced herself not to fall asleep. But this time, someone in our class tied for first place like Huamin. Chapter 4697. "Teacher, I don't have much experience," Qin Chu said. "How can you not have any experience?" "Qin Chu, don't be shy. Share your learning method with everyone. You're the first person in the entire school who can stand shoulder to shoulder with Huamin." Teacher Yao was very excited that 2 first-place students had appeared in the class. "Teacher, I was just lucky." Qin Chu didn't seem to want to say more. "Qin Chu, you're really proud of the boys in our class." "I support you." The class representative Han Su interrupted. Qin Chu didn't say anything. Instead, he looked at Teacher Yao and thought of something. He asked, "Teacher, can I take a look at Huamin's paper?" "Sure." Teacher Yao thought that he wanted to learn from Huamin's learning method, so she generously handed over Huamin's paper. After Qin Chu took it, he immediately flipped to the math paper. Then he flipped to the last major question. Huamin's interpretation of the answer was correct, just like his. However, "Teacher, there's a problem with Huamin's paper," Qin Chu said. After he said this, the entire class was shocked again. Huamin was also stunned. He looked at Qin Chu, not knowing what he was trying to do. "What's the problem?" Teacher Yao walked over. Huamin's answer was correct, but the method she used to solve the question wasn't the simplest. It was rather complicated and time-consuming. Usually, this method isn't recommended, so I think Huamin shouldn't get full marks. After Qin Chu said this, the entire class sighed. "Qin Chu, do you want to fight?" Huamin tilted her head and said. Everyone was amused by this. "I'm just stating facts. As a top student, can't you say that you made a mistake?" "That's not what I meant. I just think you're looking for trouble." Huamin's face darkened. "Teacher, you can go and find a few teachers. You can study it and see if I'm right." Since Qin Chu had taken the initiative to suggest it, Teacher Yao couldn't not do it. Mr. Yao took Huamin's test paper and returned to the teacher group. As soon as the teacher left, the class fell into chaos. "Wow. Qin Chu, you're targeting Huamin. Is that okay?" "That's right, Qin Chu. Anyway, both of you are in our class. Both of you are number one. The world is peaceful." "Qin Chu, are you possessed by a ghost? You're picking on my Mion." Zhu Lingling was so angry that she started cursing. Qin Chu didn't say a word. Huamin's heart was filled with grievances. A few days ago she couldn't sleep because of his hug. It turned out that it was all a trap. He set up a gentle trap for her to defeat her. Huamin was so angry that she gritted her teeth. However, she didn't argue too much. She didn't want to appear narrow-minded. Therefore, she decided to wait for the teacher to come back before making a decision. When Teacher Yao came back again, she adjusted the frame of her glasses. She announced again, "We've studied it." Huamin's solution is indeed a little problematic. Although the answer is correct, the solution is too complicated, so 1 point will be deducted. This way, the number one in our class and the number one in the entire grade will be Qin Chu. Huamin will be second, but it's only 1 point, so it's no different from first place. The winner will still be our class. Everyone clap. As soon as the announcement was made, the entire class turned to look at Huamin. They thought they would see a green face. However, to their surprise, Huamin smiled slightly and even took the initiative to clap. "Thank you, teacher and Qin Chu, for pointing out the problem. I definitely won't do it again," Huamin said through gritted teeth. Then Huamin didn't forget to give Qin Chu a look, which meant, "You're dead meat." Chapter 4698. After Ms. Yao made the announcement, the entire class had complicated expressions on their faces. Many people were waiting for Huamian to make trouble for Qin Chu. They were waiting for her to yell at him or say something sarcastic. But he didn't. That didn't seem to be Huamin's style. Not to mention that this person was Qin Chu. It wasn't until noon that Huamin and Zhu Lingling went for lunch. The two of them sat in a corner after getting their food. Huamin wasn't waiting for them to eat. Qin Chu and Gao Ran walked over. Originally, there were people sitting across from Huamin and the others. In the end, "Hey classmate, get up and change seats." Gao Ran dragged his plate and only said one sentence. The boys and girls across from him quickly got up, not wanting to cause trouble. Qin Chu and Gao Ran immediately sat down. "You still have the cheek to sit with us? Look at what you've done to our Mion." Zhu Lingling couldn't take it anymore and scolded Qin Chu. Qin Chu didn't say anything, but Gao Ran was stunned. "What's going on? Did something happen that I don't know about? You're from class 8, don't get involved in our class 1's business." Zhu Lingling retorted. Gao Ran, Qin Chu was sitting across from Huamin. He glanced at her, but she just lowered her head and ate quietly. Huamin liked to eat meat, so he often ate meat and vegetarian. Zhu Lingling rarely ate meat to maintain her figure. Most of the time she ate vegetarian. Girls didn't have a big appetite, so the size of their plates was just right. Gao Ran, on the other hand, was full of dishes and rice. There was also a big bowl of soup. He ate whatever tasted good. Sweet and sour pork, cucumber and shrimp, steamed pork, braised carp. Gao Ran ate high-quality food almost every meal. In comparison, Qin Chu's dish was lighter. He only made some ingredients, a small stir-fried beef. Not happy? Qin Chu spoke first. How could that be? Huamin didn't raise his head when he spoke. You must be upset that you got second place for the first time, right? He continued to ask. Qin Chu, aren't you talking nonsense? Do you want to fight? Zhu Lingling was exasperated. He almost flipped the table over. Hey, let's talk nicely. We're still eating. Gao Ran quickly stopped her. Look at him, he's a classic example of someone who's taken advantage of. I don't understand, isn't it good to be tied for first place? Why do you have to find fault with him and ask the teachers to give me on second place? Qin Chu, I used to think that you were quite manly, but I didn't expect you to be someone who would do anything to get a ranking. Bad reviews. No, I should say that you're a fan turned anti-fan. Zhu Lingling rambled on, obviously unhappy with Qin Chu. Qin Chu didn't explain. He only glanced at Huamin faintly. Then he said in an extremely formal tone, didn't you say that she likes people with better grades than her? Huamin's body froze. Zhu Lingling froze as well. Gao Ran tilted his head and looked at Qin Chu. He didn't know what Qin Chu was up to. What do you mean? From today onwards, Huamin is my girlfriend. Qin Chu's lips curled up slightly. Then he lowered his head to eat. Don't talk nonsense, Huamin quickly denied. You said that as long as I surpass you, you'll be my girlfriend. I didn't say that. Don't deny it. Anyway, you'll be my girlfriend from now on. But don't worry, I won't bully you anymore. I won't have better grades than you either, just this once. Qin Chu said happily and continued eating. Qin Chu, you're shameless. You make it sound like you lost to me on purpose. Huamin rolled his eyes. Chapter 4699. Isn't that the case? Of course not. My grades have always been better than yours. Huamin wasn't convinced. But you were second this time. Didn't you set me up? Huamin was furious. But you were second, Qin Chu said innocently. Huamin was so angry that she wanted to throw a plate of food at Qin Chu's face. However, she still had to maintain her ladylike image. Chu, that's a bit too much. Don't bully her, Gao Ran said. She'll be the one bullying me from now on. After speaking, Qin Chu didn't wait for Huamin to speak and swapped their plates. He pushed his plate to Huamin and took Huamin's half-eaten plate to eat. Zhu Lingling and Gao Ran's jaws dropped. Huamin was speechless. Girlfriend, do you want to drink Coke? I'll go buy it. Qin Chu's face was gentle. Oh. What about green tea? No. Mineral water is good. Okay, mineral water is good. After being brainwashed, Huamin nodded and actually wanted to drink mineral water. Then Qin Chu got up and went to buy it. Huamin finally reacted. Qin Chu, come back here. Who's your girlfriend? Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I see now. Qin Chu's scheme is so fucking deep. I can't see the bottom. Zhu Lingling finally understood. Qin Chu wasn't bullying Huamin. He was clearly tricking her. Unknowingly, she became his girlfriend. Who said that it was hard for a guy to chase a girl? It took Qin Chu less than 5 minutes to catch up with Huamin. Qin Chu came back with the water and put it in front of Huamin. Gao Ran looked unconvinced. You're only buying one bottle? What about us? You're not my girlfriend. Qin Chu said faintly. Gao Ran froze on the spot. Motherfucker. Is this a public display of affection? It's over. The two of us are probably going to be despised as third wheels in the future. Zhu Lingling laughed. Just as Huamin was about to say something, Qin Chu helped her to open the door. Then he thoughtfully handed her a straw. Drink slowly, don't choke, Qin Chu said. Huamin, I'm not a child. I don't need a straw. It's safer to use a straw, Qin Chu explained. Zhu Lingling covered her forehead. It's over. What's going on now? Can someone tell me? Huamin, how do you feel right now? Gao Ran picked up his chopsticks and used them as a microphone to interview Huamin. I'm actually very confused. I have no idea what's going on. Who am I? Where am I? Huamin was speechless. Later, many years later, they would talk about the interesting things that happened at Second High. Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling would tease each other. Qin Chu used 5 minutes and a bottle of water to settle Huamin. Mr. Qin didn't think much of it. He said that he used an exam to settle his wife. At first Huamin thought that Chinchu was just messing around. Later he called her his girlfriend so much that he really got into the act. When school was about to end, Chinchu wrote a note and threw it directly at Huamin's head. She was in a daze. When she was woken up by the note, she looked unhappy. Then he slowly picked up the note. "Wait for me at the west gate after school." Huamin froze. She didn't know what Chinchu wanted to do. She wanted to ask him, but he turned his face away and didn't look at her. The class was very quiet. Everyone was reading, so Huamin was too embarrassed to ask. After school, Huamin didn't want to go to the west gate, so she walked directly to the north gate. It seemed like she didn't want to fulfill her promise with Chinchu. Or maybe she didn't want to accept Chinchu's one-sided invitation. Chapter 4700. As she walked, she suddenly felt her collar being grabbed by a strong hand. Before Huamin could finish speaking, she was dragged away. She looked as pitiful as a little chick. She was only put down after walking for about 10 meters. When he turned around, he was indeed faced with that beautiful face that angered both men and gods. "Chinchu, what are you doing? Didn't I tell you to go to the west gate? Why should I go just because you tell me to? My house is closer to the north gate." With that, Huamin turned around to leave, but she was grabbed again. "Chinchu, if you do this, I'm going to scream. Go ahead. Let the whole school know that you're my girlfriend." "Keep your voice down. Who's your girlfriend?" Huamin was scared out of her wits. She thought to herself, this is a school. If you're so loud, won't everyone on earth hear you? It's true. Don't try to deny it. Chinchu had already confirmed it in his mind. Huamin liked boys with better grades than her. Without a doubt, in the entire second high, only Chinchu fit the bill. Even in the entire Sea City, there was no one with better grades than Chinchu. Therefore he was the best candidate for her. "Please, big brother. Can you keep your voice down? Don't delay things. Let's go home and find our mothers." However, even though she said that, she still couldn't move. She was still held tightly by Chinchu. At this moment, the students passing by all looked at them strangely. After all, this was a school. It wasn't good to touch each other. "Chinchu, let go of me first. Follow me to the west gate. Let go first. To the west gate." Chinchu didn't give up. "You win. Let go and I'll go to the west gate, okay?" She was unlucky to meet such a domineering guy. In order not to attract the attention of the whole school, Huamin quietly followed Chinchu to the west gate. Unexpectedly, she bumped into a few classmates at the west gate. Han Su, Wei Dong, and the others also seemed to have agreed to meet at the west gate. West Gate was a street full of internet cafes. At that time, computers were not everywhere. Many people would go to internet cafes to play games. Therefore, when a group of boys wanted to go out to play, they happened to see Chinchu and Huamin walking out. "Do you guys want to play games too?" Han Su asked. Huamin was about to say something. "Goddess Hua, let's go together. The new game is really fun. With your IQ, you'll definitely become an expert among experts." Wei Dong really had a soft spot for Huamin. Even after being rejected, he still didn't give up. They still warmly invited Huamin to play with them. Chinchu, on the other hand, suddenly said, "We're going to eat." Seeing how straightforward Chinchu was, Han Su was a little confused. After all, they didn't seem to have anything to do with each other in class. After what happened today, Huamin should hate Chinchu. Why would he eat with him? While everyone was still in a daze, Chinchu dragged Huamin away. Then they got into a taxi. What's going on? Are they a couple?" a classmate asked. When Wei Dong heard this, his expression turned slightly ugly. "I don't think so." Huamin's expression was a little. Han Su wasn't sure, but he felt that there was something strange about the two of them. "I heard that Chinchu's family is very rich. Seems like girls still like rich guys. Wei Dong, do you think Huamin rejected you because your family isn't rich enough?" A boy laughed and said, "You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories."